Hello, everybody. Welcome into Between the Ears. I'm Schuyler Callihan. That is Christopher Hall, and this is a unusual time for us to tape, but it is bowl season. We've got our bowl opponent, we've got our destination. You guys are coming here to my backyard here in Charlotte. So West Virginia going to be taking on the North Carolina Tar Heels in the Duke's Mayo Bowl here at Bank of America Stadium. This is going to be a fun one, Chris. I kind of jokingly said a couple of weeks ago that I was hoping West Virginia would match up with North Carolina. That way, me and my wife could have a little back and forth throughout the upcoming weeks and in the game in the weeks after the game. But boy, I didn't know that it would end up here in Charlotte. That's pretty cool. So the Duke's Mayo Bowl is not directly tied to the Big 12 conference, but because the Big 12 had more bowl eligible teams than slots, the SEC did not have as many. They were able to make that work. And here we go. West Virginia, North Carolina, once again in Charlotte.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. We don't know who's playing for North Carolina right now.
Yeah.
uh,
Drake May,
I,
most notably.
yeah, Drake May most notably. And unfortunately, if he does play, I think this is a horrendous matchup for West Virginia. Just because, I mean, if you look at the teams they lost to, they had a good passing game. Houston was inconsistent with it, but if you go back and listen, they had a talented receiving core. You look at North Carolina, they do have a talented receiving core along with the tight end. So don't like that matchup, especially with the inside with the linebackers and then the safety issues as well. Obviously, we kind of expect all the West Virginia players except for Zach Frazier for now not playing. So if you're going into it right now, it looks like West Virginia has the advantage. I would highly doubt Drake May would play. He's like a top 3
Yeah. There's
draft pick. So I'm not sure he's going to play.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this team, and again, ironically, I was telling my wife this like 2 weeks or a week ago that West Virginia, North Carolina, they both get to 8-4, but both fan bases probably feel much different about the way they got to 8-4 because West Virginia again picked preseason 14th in the Big 12. Meanwhile, North Carolina was a lot of people's dark horse to get to the college football playoff. Everyone certainly pegged them into getting to Charlotte this weekend for the ACC title game. Yet they just they kind of fell apart really about late October on. And I'm looking at their schedule here. After they beat Pitt, Syracuse, and Miami, things really started to go downhill. They lose to Virginia, and I believe at the time that was Virginia's either first or second win of the season. They lose to Virginia 31-27 at home. You feel like, okay, they bounce back. They get Georgia Tech. Nope. One game beats them twice. They go down to Atlanta and lose to Georgia Tech in a shootout, 46-42. They finally bounce back the next week against her alma mater, Campbell, and win 59-7. They take down Duke 47-45 in double overtime. So they kind of really had to. That was kind of a game that could have went either way. And then these last 2 weeks, they've lost to Clemson on the road 31-20, and then NC State 39-20. So they've only scored 40 points in these last two games. That's with Drake May. I don't know what this offense is going to look like if it does not have him. But the one thing I do know is from watching a few of these Carolina games is they can run the football. Amari and Hampton, 1,442 yards, 15 touchdowns, averages 6 yards a carry. Obviously, Drake May can run it as well. So if he's not in the game, I don't know what that backup quarterback situation is like. We'll go more in depth on that in our actual preview. But Amari and Hampton is going to be a problem for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the defense has let them down most of the year.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, they'll have time to fix that again. We'll have to see how the roster shakes out. But definitely an exciting matchup. West Virginia got the better of them. It was 08. Was that when it was? 08
Yeah.
with Pat White's last bowl game to mark it 4 in a row. I think they've only matched up against each other twice. 96 Gator Bowl and that, which is kind of odd geographically. They've never had a non-conference even way back in history. So
Yeah.
it'll be a fun matchup, interesting matchup, and I like West Virginia's chances going in without Drake May.
With him.
I'm not to say that they could. I mean, if you look at their defense, I think West Virginia could keep up, but you don't want another Dylan Gabriel. Alan Bowman was up and down this year, but I mean, he put a lot of darts in that game that opened up the running game. And if Drake May's having a good day, it obviously opens up the running game. You just mentioned their stats with the rushing game, so it would definitely be a challenge. But I think West Virginia's offense would be up for the task. You just hate having someone like Dre May possibly having the ball in the final minute or so.
Yeah, that could be problematic for sure. North Carolina, their defense, pass defense, they ranked dead last in the ACC, so 14th there, and then against the run, they were 11th, allowing 163 yards per game. So you kind of feel like this could almost be like that Houston game a little bit if Drake May does play, because Carolina's defense has got a lot of soft areas in it. They're really not that good up front. I think this is a game even without Zach Frazier. This offensive line should have its way up front and kind of moving the pile and creating some holes for CJ Donaldson, Jaheim White, even Garrett Green. Like I think West Virginia's not going to have a problem moving the ball and scoring it, especially the way they've played the last month of the season. They've looked really good. It's just kind of coming down to all the question marks with Drake May, all the question marks with West Virginia's defense. Because let's face it, really since the bye week, you can't really say a whole lot about West Virginia's defense outside of the BYU game, and BYU was in a tough spot in that game with Jake Retzloff.
Yeah, a lot of it just has to do with injuries. They came in thin in the secondary and linebacker, and they've just kind of picked on them there down the seam and in the middle. Um, so that's where you kind of worry with Drake May, because he's going to be able to kind of target, hit those targets. And then you think about it. Well, how good is the backup quarterback? Because he's supposed to be really good next year, because you don't have any film on him.
Yeah.
They can really come out with a whole new game plan as well, but. Um, but I still think, again, West Virginia's offense should be able to move the ball and keep pace. You just hope that it's not a bad day. They have had their off days for sure. So hopefully it's just not an off day.
So I guess just the optics of this. If you can find a way to win this game, whether it's with or without Drake May, I still think again that ninth win is so big because you can recruit to that, and you can still recruit to an 8-win season. There's no doubt about that. But a 9-win season, that just it just sounds beautiful, right? Like if you go to these kids in the portal and say, "Hey, we won 9 games," even though a lot of these guys that they're recruiting, it'll be throughout the month of December before the bowl game, but there's going to be some stragglers. There's going to be some guys that transfer later on. I mean, that plus the high school ranks, you can really start to recruit to that with a 9-win season. I don't care who plays in the game or not. Again, these transfers aren't going to go and look at the box score and say, "Oh, well, they got to 9 wins because Drake May didn't play in the bowl game." So I think it's a good opportunity for West Virginia. We'll see how they match up, but thoughts on the season a little bit here too, since we haven't had a chance to record that episode yet. We will, but just a brief thought on that on the 8-1 year.
Yeah, just kind of build on that. You're building. I think when you're pitching these kids in the portal, you're Beanie. I'm sure they're saying, "Hey, we're building here. We have some pieces. We have a chance." But now you're just adding to what's already a pretty good roster coming into next year. So thought they, I said 8-4 at the beginning of the year. That's what they ended up being. Didn't waver when they won those early games. I thought they would lose. I knew it would kind of shake out. It's just kind of who they are as a young team. They were going to be consistent. Shake out the way it did. Thought they played better when they played their best. I thought that was better than I thought they would be, especially later in the year with that offense. Garrett Green has just made strides. Jaheim White was good as advertised. And really retention. Just think about it. If they couldn't have retained CJ Donaldson, then all of a sudden you're leaning on Jaheim White all season. And we don't know. DJ Oliver's gotten a lot of love from the coaches, but you don't know how that would have shaked out during the season. It changed your passing game because pass protection, because CJ Donaldson had a year to learn that and help in the passing game. So there was a lot involved, really, in just so many small areas, small things like that make a huge difference. So it's exciting to know the resources are there to carry it on the next year, and they're able to build with the bowl practice and a quality opponent.
Yeah, this is a big game, or really not just a big game, but just a big opportunity. Either way, you still feel good about the 8-win season. You're making progress. You've got a young nucleus that you can build around. You think, as long as you can keep everybody. So we'll see how it all shakes out here at Bank of America Stadium. Uh, just a little fun fact for you: when Chris and I work a West Virginia game in Bank of America Stadium, West Virginia is undefeated.
Nope.
So just throwing that out there, but. We thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to have more in-depth coverage. We've got a bunch of stuff already up on the site, more to come on this matchup. In the weeks ahead, we'll have even more. We're going to have the game day show as well with Eugene. Probably, we usually put it out 2 days before, but since that would be Christmas, we're probably going to put it out maybe the 23rd or something like that. So you guys can watch it over the holidays or not. I don't blame you if you don't, but we'll have it there for you if you choose to. So thank you guys for watching. For Christopher Hall, I'm Schuyler Callihan. You've been watching Between the Ears. You can follow us on Twitter or X at Mountaineers Now, and you can also subscribe to our channel on YouTube at the same handle. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon. Take care.